Hallo iedereen, welkom bij Dutch and Go. Today we're going to talk about music and how you can study Dutch with music. So first of all, something personal about me. I'm a huge music lover, okay? Like, I will listen to whatever music I can get my hands on. I'm super eclectic. But I was also thinking, how can I improve the experience of my students to learn Dutch, and specifically to discover Dutch music? So that's why I made some playlists of Dutch music, because I feel that in general, when you look at traditional course books or maybe traditional language classes, they use a specific genre of Dutch music, which is pop music, which is great if you're into pop music. I personally, it's not my favorite genre, pop music. I'm interested in it, but it's not my favorite thing. And so for me, I wanted to have something that would appeal to more people, no matter what your genre is, basically, no matter what you're interested in as a listener, okay? Because maybe you have more R&B or hip hop on your playlist, or maybe you're more like into the indie alternative stuff, maybe a little bit more electronic. And thankfully these days the Dutch Flemish music scene has evolved to such an extent that there's really no excuse anymore to not listen to Dutch music and whatever genre you're interested in, because basically you're going to find something pretty much in every kind of genre, except for maybe black metal. Yeah, not black metal, but pretty much everything else. Yes. So first of all, I divided the playlist according to genre. So roughly, it's R&B and hip hop and trap and all of that stuff, which is very hip these days. And you do have some Dutch and Flemish artists singing songs in that genre, quite substantially so. Then there's children's songs, so things that you can listen to together with your kids, or by yourself if you're like, just like feeling a little bit like a little kid. Don't be embarrassed about that, it's okay. Our secret. Then also romantic ballad stuff, love songs, so if you just want to have like a cool, nice romantic evening with your beloved partner and you want to introduce him or her to Dutch music, then that is the playlist for you. Then I've also got a playlist for Dutch folk, which goes back all the way to the 50s and the 60s. So if you're into like old stuff, but also like more acoustic, theater music, folk music, that's it for you. The same thing for Flemish music, a lot of protest music in there as well, often sung in dialect. So perfect if you want to get in touch with some old school Flemish dialects and learn everything about growing potatoes in the Flemish countryside. Really. Then also pop, light rock, commercial, big hits, the stuff that you would hear basically on a normal commercial box standard Dutch or Flemish radio. So yeah, basically really famous songs or songs that have been major hits either in Flanders or the Netherlands, or exceptionally in both countries, but normally Dutch hits stay in the Netherlands and Flemish hits stay in Flanders. That is something that is a general sort of rule, and only the last couple of years we've had some overlap and crossover successes, but that's only getting started really. And then there's also finally, which is my personal favorite, the indie stuff, alternative music, a little bit more singer-songwriter, like hipster, coffee shop, folk stuff, a little bit more poetic, some electronic music, very atmospheric, a little bit more complex and detailed, and and so there's a playlist for that too. So basically, no matter whether you're a hipster or a mainstreamer or hip hop, or you just want to dance and have fun, it's all there. And then there's also a playlist with party music for when you're throwing a housewing party in your new home in Flanders or Belgium or in the Netherlands. Then you can make people very comfortable there with that kind of music, and maybe even do like a dance or polonaise if that is your thing. The second of all, when to listen to music. So when should you listen to music? The point is here with these playlists is to create a positive relationship with the language. So what I would not suggest is to really like sit down and intentionally listen to every song on the playlist. I mean, you can't, because there's way too much out there, and playlists are way too long. It's more to just let it run in the background. So whenever you listen to music normally, so maybe when you're doing some emails, or I don't know, doing the dishes, or driving a car, or cleaning up your house, or cooking, or whenever would be a normal music listening situation for you, well, instead of using whatever Spotify playlist or CD or vinyl if you're a hipster thing you've got going on, just replace that with one of these playlists and just give that a go until maybe something pops up that you really like or that you're really into, and then you can look up that artist or listen again to that song or whatever. But that is the basic only thing that I want you to do. So just the idea is to just have fun in a very sort of relaxed way without making any specific effort to really understand like the lyrics or whatever. It's just for having fun and getting some basic connection to the Dutch music, because I know that for me, I personally, whenever I'm learning a language, I need that. I need some connection with the culture. I'm such a music lover that for me, if I discover like an artist, that can be my main motivation to learn the language. So maybe that could be the case for you too. Third of all, I've made a list here, so that's why I'm looking down here now. I've made a list for some of the most famous artists and songs that you should absolutely know from the Netherlands and Belgium. They go across several genres and you know, styles of music, but these are some major hits and are super well known in the Netherlands and in Belgium. So let's start with the Netherlands. So first of all, one of the biggest artists in pop music is Marco Borsato, and then his song Dromen zijn bedrog. It's pop music, but yeah, one of the most famous songs. Then another one is a song with Bluff and Geike Arnaert, Zoute Landen. It was recently declared, I think, the biggest Dutch hit ever, which was, by the way, a crossover hit both in the Netherlands and in Belgium. Like, it was on the radio for more than a year. I think it was a huge, huge hit. And Bluff is one of the most important and famous rock groups in the Netherlands, and now starting to get known in Belgium too. Then for R&B, like one of the most famous people in the Netherlands these days is Ronnie Flex. And maybe you should check out his song Energie, which he recorded with Frenna. It's quite fun, and if you're into R&B, well then you're sure gonna love that too. De Jeugd van Tegenwoordig is one of the biggest hip-hop bands in the Netherlands, and their wordplays and creativity with language and their insane flows are just amazing to check out, and especially their song Sterren Stof is heaps amount of fun. Then if you're more like into the ballads, one of the biggest ballads that we've seen over the last couple of years in the Netherlands was Claudia de Breij and her song Mag ik dan bij jou. Claudia de Breij is mostly known for her theater work, but she's also an amazing songwriter, and this is a really classic sort of piano Dutch ballad, and absolutely beautiful and emotional. And then finally, party music, but also really essential part of Dutch culture, Schlager, basically as you call it. It's Frans Bauer, Happy Even voor mij. If you hear it once, you can't forget it, really. Yeah. Then, moving on to Belgium or Flanders, some big hits there. So first of all, I have to start with Gorky and their song Mia. Unfortunately, the band has stopped because the frontman has died, and they were one of my favorite Flemish bands, and that was super sad. And I'm still sad about that, actually, 4 years after, and I think a lot of Flemish people together with me, and their song is still an absolute classic, and it captures so much of what the Flemish identity is all about in a way, even though it's not in any kind of way like nationalistic. But yeah, Mia, check it out. It's beautiful, melancholic, gentle, sweet, it's gorgeous. Then another one, Het Zesde Metaal, Ploegsteert, just recently also has gotten a bit of like a classic status. It's sung in West Flemish actually, this song, but it was a hit all across Flanders, and yeah, definitely check it out. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a bit like Americana, but in West Flemish. Weird, but wonderful. Then for the hip hop, I would definitely say Slongs die van ons, and her song Goeiemorgen, Goeiemiddag. She sings in Antwerpian dialect basically, but this song is very famous, and she was also on a music program on national television. So like she sings in Antwerp dialect, but you know, she's like across Flanders. She's very, very well known. Then for the more like hipster pop rock music, it's Bazaar and their song Goud. Bazaar are like, I don't know, the poster boys these days of like smooth rock, but they're very inventive and very well known, and have had some recent hits and already I think 2 very successful albums. So yeah, if you're into like big revelations and stuff like that, Goud is really an interesting song. Then a classic ballad from one of the biggest Flemish pop groups of all time is Clouseau, Nobelprijs. It's a very sweet romantic song. Was a huge hit as well. And Clouseau is one of Flanders' biggest pop bands, which strangely also again never really got any sort of success in the Netherlands, but in Flanders you cannot go around Clouseau. And then finally also again, as is the case for Netherlands, so is the case for Flanders too, Schlager also has a huge substantial audience in Belgium. In Flanders it's easily recognizable, easily memorable music, and in this case it's a song by Laura Lynn. Je hebt me 1000-maal bedrogen. You've lied to me, you've cheated on me 1000 times. It's again one of those earworms that will just infest your brain, and yeah, you'll never ever forget it. So there you go. These were some tips, some general ideas of how you can use music. And of course the idea with the playlists that I've made and these tips that I've given you, if you discover an artist, if you discover a song that you really like, just write down the name or write down the link or whatever, just remember that, and then maybe look up some more. Like, the point is that you find things that you really can connect to, that you really can interact with. If you really like a song, check out the lyrics, and maybe, you know, one day those lyrics or that song can become the motivation for you to learn Dutch better, to learn more Dutch, to know more vocabulary, so that one day you'll be able to like understand the entire discography of that artist if you're a music nerd like me, and you know, it's kind of like how I started to learn Portuguese as well and other languages. So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. I hope this video is helpful. Please check out my blog, where I've also written down like a small list of my own personal favorite songs as well, like from all of the selections and the playlists that I've made. And ja, see you next time. Dankjewel voor het kijken. Dag!